Namaste. You can see the image on the left. I am in San Francisco at my third NBA finals, drinking, drugging after I broke up with a girl. On the right, you can see me still being ghosted, still being broken up, but living within my core values, sticking to my true self, and being the best version of myself. No matter what's happening and no matter who's watching me, I'm doing the same thing. When you get ghosted, the pain feels unreal. There are a lot of things that are happening chemically in your brain. You want to fix it, you want to understand it, and you want to figure out a way to undo it. You want to figure out a way out of it. You want to just try to control the situation as best as you can, but you know that she's gone. Most people will try to numb it by scrolling, swiping, and talking to other people. You don't want to do that. You don't want to talk to an ex. You don't want to talk to a girl that you think likes you, and she's the next best option. What you want to do instead is write it down through a process that's supported by medical evidence called Mind Hygiene. As you're looking at the image on the left, I'm drinking, I'm drugging, I'm trying to numb my pain. But on the right, I'm still working out, I'm still being mindful, I'm still being empathetic towards myself, I'm still understanding myself, I'm in the best shape of my life, I still live alone, I don't have any kids, I don't have any family. How did I do it? What I'm going to show you here today is that even if you live alone, you don't believe in yourself, you have mental illness, there is a way out, and you don't have to listen to me. You can just see the before and after images as proof that you can also do it. If you can take that one thing away from this video, is that you can go from being alone and not liking yourself to loving yourself by yourself, where you don't have a crew of friends, family that are supporting you. That's what I would like for you to know. I'm dhruvaMD, a practicing board-certified family doctor, and I've been single for 10 years, and I've been single on purpose for 7 years to develop myself. And what I did was I didn't distract myself the whole time. What I did was I figured out a way to accept it. You see, when I went through this breakup when I was 37, I think I might have been 37 in that image, and I've been sober since July 31st of 2018 from alcohol, drugs, gambling debt, cocaine addiction, and mainly self-hate. What happens is that during that time, when you're just trying to intensely fix your emotions, talk to an ex, call somebody, imagine that day where you're on your phone and you're just drinking, or you're eating bad, or you're scrolling, you're looking for the next best fix. Imagine how much suffering that is. The neurochemicals in your brain, norepinephrine spiking, oxytocin not there because you don't have a bond with yourself or anybody else. Serotonin drops, dopamine drops. The pain is very real. The physical pain that occurs in the body is similar to that occurs when a dopamine or serotonin crash happens during a breakup. But imagine that day instead where you have a rejection toolkit in place, where you have mind hygiene, where you write, where you accept yourself, where you love yourself, where you're compassionate to yourself, where even though you're struggling, you still want to call. You think I don't want to? You think I don't want to call this person? You don't think I want to call this girl that ghosted me? You don't think I want to find out why? Of course I do. It's eating me up inside. But I need to stick to my core values. I want to look the same, gosh darn it, in that image on the right, now, tomorrow, and the day after. I don't want to fail myself. And that is more important to me than fixing it with a scroll or going back online and dating again. And you can be there too. And you need to know that you're going to always be fighting something. You're always going to be working through some type of a demon. You're always going to have to figure out ways to radically accept and embrace yourself by yourself and love yourself when nobody's watching you, when nobody's giving you any validation. You want to be the person that says that if somebody says something bad about you, do you believe that about yourself? You want to be the person that says that if somebody says something good about you, do you believe that about yourself? Why ghosting triggers numbing behavior? Emotional rejection triggers the brain's threat system. Imagine that. When you get rejected, so many things are going through your head when you do. And that's why you want to write it down. Don't take any risks. You can call it journaling. You can call it a diary. I just call it mind hygiene. And it's what worked for me. Cortisol and norepinephrine spike the fight or flight response. And when that cortisol spikes, you feel like having to fix it. Smoking a cigarette, scrolling, watching TikTok, binge watching TV, talking to somebody, blaming somebody. This is your brain like trying to fight back with you. But I am a medical doctor. I do prescribe medications, but medications have caused me a lot of problems. And that's where I had to develop these techniques. Mind hygiene is supported by medical evidence based on mindfulness-based cognitive behavioral therapy, as an example. And we'll talk about eye movement desensitization processing later in this video. Cognitive behavioral therapy, mindfulness, awareness. Am I present? Am I absent? What is my intention? What is my purpose behind this? I want to fix and control my mind, but I actually hate myself. We're not talking about you, but I hated myself. And if I'm drinking, drugging, eating bad, texting people that I don't want to, and trying to go back online, I hate that about myself. What am I going to do though? The process from self-hate to self-love took me about 5 years of being single, living alone. I did go on a few dates here and there, but I was very intentional about it. And I told them, look, I don't want to be with you. Interestingly, when you say that, I think people want to be with you even more. But nevertheless, I'm like, I'm not going to control somebody else. I'm not going to blame somebody. I'm not going to be condescending. I'm not going to be mean to somebody else. The reason why I was mean to other people is because I was mean to myself. I didn't have a bond with myself. I didn't love myself. I didn't sit with myself. You think that I was like this? I had to earn this. I had to study mindfulness. I had to learn compassion. I taught myself empathy and I earned it. And I did it all by myself, and you can too. Some of the other neurochemicals like dopamine, it has a real big problem when you have a craving for some type of relief. You seek fast dopamine through food, substances, attention, or distractions. But every time you numb your pain, you delay the healing process. And imagine you're healed, okay? I'll tell you something. You're healed, everything is good, you look great. People are asking you, look, you're glowing, you look so fantastic, you're so handsome. Oh, you look so good, you take care of yourself, your clothes fit so well. How are you eating so healthy? What are you doing when you're by yourself? And you're gonna tell them that you were alone for several years and you didn't date, and then you became the best version of yourself. But the caveat here is that what if I just say, look, I'll just have one drink. Oh, I'll cheat one day and I won't write. Oh, you know what? I don't need to write all the time. It's not a big deal. I've already emotionally regulated myself. Well, that is the relapse before the relapse. And that's where you just cannot stop. Here's mind hygiene versus numbing, supported by medical evidence. Eye movement desensitization reprocessing therapy. Studies show that structured emotional processing rewires trauma pathways. Writing and bilateral stimulation used in EMDR helps reduce emotional intensity tied to a memory. As an example, my dad he was very abusive towards me. He would always say, you're dumb, you're stupid. He would sit me down and he would say, look, you're going to be nothing, you're going to amount to nothing. I had to beat the lack of self-belief out of myself. And what I did was I took time to understand what I did to other people. When my dad was condescending to me, I was condescending to a partner. If there was a time where I felt that I was disrespected, I would be mean. So if, let's say, take an example of a cleaning. I've had some cleaning problems. I like to be clean. Everything needs to be neat. All the shirts need to be folded in a certain way. And when they're not, I was perceiving disrespect and I was being condescending and I was being mean. I mean, how dumb is that? How bad is that? Well, what it was it had nothing to do with my dad. Sure, he was condescending, he was mean to me. But we need to take everybody else out of the equation. And that's what mind hygiene does. When you live alone, don't believe in yourself, you gotta forget about everybody else. I'll tell you why, because nobody cares. And nobody's gonna come save you, including me. You have to save yourself by writing yourself out of it. It's just another tool in your repertoire to believe in yourself and feel better about yourself. With that said, the condescending behavior, I had to reprocess all of that and forgive myself for the things that I did. And then I was able to forgive my dad without even having to think twice about it, because I understood why I did what I did. And when I sat with myself, I wrote it down, I forgave myself, automatically you're empathetic towards other people. When my patients would see me before, I was condescending, I was mean, I was rude, I was mean to myself, and I was mean to others. Now you see online over 1,200 patient reviews that are glowing, saying that I'm empathetic, that I'm aware, that I'm present. I wasn't like that before. I had horrible patient experiences before. I had horrible life experiences until I lived alone. What I thought was embarrassing, what I thought was dumb, stupid, all of a sudden, 2 weeks ago after this ghosting, I created a different mission. I'm like, look, I'm gonna stay within my core values, I'm gonna stay single, and I'm gonna create videos on it, and I'm gonna show people what I'm doing through this breakup process instead of what I used to do. You can see the image on the left with me drinking and drugging, and you can see the image on the right with me being healthy, eating right, and taking care of myself. If I can do it, you can do it too. EMDR research shows up to 68% reduction in emotional reactivity in patients with attachment trauma. Now, we need to separate this word trauma from our vocabulary. We need to say it's a life experience that we have not inspired from yet. I've seen over 130,000 patients in my career. People will always say it's because of this. You don't want to be that person. You want to say, because of this, I inspired and this is what I'm doing now. I got ghosted. I got broken up. Nothing happened. There wasn't a big event. There wasn't an argument. But still, I'm sitting with myself, what did I do? And then now, these videos aren't about blaming somebody. They're not about me venting. It's not about me saying that they're a problem. They needed to do what they needed to do. We cannot be worrying about that, but ever. Maybe for a little bit, but when you write it out, what else does a mind hygiene person do? Of course they're gonna feel bad. I gave myself permission to feel bad for one day. Interestingly, sometimes I would feel bad for 3 to 4 days, and I would sleep off a full weekend if I felt like it. But now I've developed enough tools where I slept off for a couple of hours and then I just started to do some writing. And you think that there's some magic to this. You think that I wanna do this all the time. I don't. I would rather not write. Almost every time I have to convince myself that I'll sit down for 1 second. I'll convince myself that I'll go to the gym for 1 second and leave. I'll convince myself that I'll eat eggs and then I'll eat cookies. But what I'm doing here is I'm just training my mind over and over again. And that's what mind hygiene is. The daily exposure in the writing to your accepting yourself prevents emotional buildup. And EMDR has a safe space for you. And what people will call trauma therapy, I would rather ask you to call it inspirational therapy. What do you do instead of numbing? Aces your life with mind hygiene. There will be a link in the description below to a PDF that you can follow along. A is accept your awareness. Look, for example, I'm saying something condescending to this person because they didn't fold my clothes properly. I'm gonna accept that. Why am I doing that? On the inside, I actually resent my dad and I blame him for everything, whereas I haven't forgiven myself for the things that I've done. The intention behind that is I'm gonna write about it until I write my way out of it. I'm gonna do it on purpose. I'm not gonna be mindless. I'm gonna figure out a way to be present, and I'm gonna develop mindfulness, and I'm gonna study it, and I'm gonna teach myself it. I'm gonna touch my hair, say that that's cool, my ears, my nose, feel my lips, my hands when I'm moving, when I'm walking. I can feel my body, be grateful to God for all of these things, and I'm gonna do it over and over and over and over and over again until I develop mindfulness. When I did this, it took me about 1.5 years to actually be present. When you look at a lot of my patient reviews, even I'm amazed still, they're like, this guy's so present, he's so compassionate, he understands me. You have to understand that I'm not showing off here. I'm okay just living. I don't even ever need to work again if I don't want to. I mean, I've been blessed enough to be where I am. And I want to just inspire people. That's the next purpose, right? That's the vision. That's the big mission. I want to help others. I want to donate the money that I make. I want to create mind hygiene filtration systems. I want to create mindfulness clinics. I want to create a mind hygiene clinic for patients where they can come in and they can show up and they don't have to feel like they're judged, and they don't have to feel like I'm gonna push a bunch of meds on them. And I'm gonna say, I want you to develop a process. You don't even have to, doesn't even have to be mine. But when you develop it, just inspire other people is what I ask patients. ACE is your life with mind hygiene. And that's A is accept your awareness. C is communicate your compassion. Make sure that you're taking the next best action step to be the next best version of yourself. E is embrace your empathy. Just say that, look, I'm taking a compassionate step towards myself. I'm writing, even though I got mad at this person for just folding clothes wrong. I'm going to embrace empathetically. I'm going to say, look, I understand that I may need to forgive myself first, and then I'll forgive somebody else. And I'll S is soft in the process. Don't make it seem like it's difficult, hard, stressful, too much. Because if you do, you're just going to be fighting that all the time. Instead, you can say that, is it going to be bad for me to get back into a relationship where I'm condescending? Or do I have to live alone for maybe like 3 to 5 years? A lot of the time people are so distracted in life and they get so distracted and so caught up so quickly that they just lose faith in what they can do. And I think that if I was around a bunch of people, if I had kids, if I was married, if I had a kid with somebody else and I had to see them and it was split custody, I think that the situation might be a little bit different. But me being alone allowed me to have no distractions. I mean, there are times that people just wouldn't call me for a barbecue. Nobody called me to go hang out with them on the Super Bowl. I have a couple of friends that would call me on Christmas and Thanksgiving, and that's it. Now, I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm listening to all of these guys who are talking about compassion, who are talking about empathy, and I'm just gonna follow them first. And I think that what they're saying makes sense to me. Please subscribe to this video, hit the notification bell. I'll be dropping videos every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And please comment, like the video, share it with somebody that needs it. Also, I'm gonna ask you is when you're going through a breakup, you've been ghosted, don't talk to anybody first. First, write it down, see what you've done, forgive yourself, and then move on to the next relationship. Don't do yourself or somebody else wrong. This is gonna be the second part of the series of ghosting. And the next video you can watch here is ghosted by a girl. I didn't text her back. Instead, I built a mission. Namaste.